Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to dive into a world of lipstick and serums and stuff.
And like serious consumer psychology.
Yeah, so today we're cracking open the vanity case on the beauty industry.
We're going to be looking at makeup and skincare in 2024.
Yeah, and it's not just about what shade of blush is trending.
Definitely not. We're going like way beyond the surface.
We're using this super insightful CORQ article.
Yeah.
I think it's called Makeup versus Skincare for beauty experts on what consumers want to really understand
Yeah, like what we buy, why we buy it.
what's next for the entire industry.
Totally.
Because, let's be real, whether you're a beauty guru or just, trying to figure out why your Instagram feed looks like a skincare aisle exploded,
Right.
these trends, they impact all of us.
Absolutely. And this CRQ piece, it kicks off by like painting this picture of an industry in flux, right? Globally, the cosmetics market, it rebounded
Yeah.
to a massive $343.37 billion in 2023.
Billion, that's a whole lot of moisturizer.
It is, and it's projected to reach a jaw-dropping $646.20 billion in 2024.
Wow.
But here's the kicker. Within this huge growth, we're seeing this fascinating shift in consumer behavior, almost a tale of two industries.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
I remember the early days of the pandemic,
Yeah.
Just sweatpants became high fashion and suddenly everyone was a DIY skincare expert. Is that what you mean by a shift?
Yeah, precisely. The article points out that makeup sales haven't totally bounced back.
Interesting.
Actually, they dropped 19% post-pandemic compared to pre-2019. Meanwhile, skincare has flourished. L'Oreal's active cosmetics segment saw revenue jump almost 19% in 2020 alone.
Wow.
So it's like the collective stress of a global pandemic had us all reaching for face masks instead of mascara.
It's so fascinating how these major events, impact something as seemingly personal as our beauty routines.
Mm-hmm.
The article really seems to hone in on Gen Z.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Rightfully so, I mean.
They're calling them the biggest beauty spenders.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. They're constantly online discovering new products at lightning speed.
And it's more nuanced than just teenagers loving the latest trends, right? This is a generation that grew up during the rise of social media.
Totally.
Influencer marketing. They're bombarded with choices, constantly bombarded with information. This constant influx has made them incredibly discerning consumers.
So Gen Z sounds kind of like a marketer's dream and nightmare all at the same time.
Right.
They have all the purchasing power.
Yeah.
But good luck getting them to commit to one brand.
Exactly. And the article quotes Jay Richards.
Okay.
He's the co-founder of Gen Z market research platform Imogen Insights. And he says that for Gen Z, brand loyalty is earned.
It's so true.
It's not assumed.
Yeah.
And it makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
They've grown up with instant access to endless options online.
Totally.
If a product doesn't work, they can instantly find another one that might.
Right. And they're also super into retailers like Amazon
Yes.
and Superdrug. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I can totally see how that instant gratification plays into their shopping habits.
Oh,
But there's kind of a curveball in the article, too.
okay.
Because even though Gen Z is all about trying new things, skincare is their jam.
Yeah.
And that seems kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be all over the latest makeup trends.
Right. It's like they've cracked the code on timelessness. The article points to a few reasons for this.
Okay.
For one, there's the rise of the clean girl aesthetic.
Ah, okay.
Think natural makeup, minimal products. It's all about enhancing your features,
Okay.
not masking them.
So it's less about layers of foundation and more about that I woke up this glow.
Exactly.
Which, let's be real, takes some serious skincare dedication.
Exactly. And it's an investment in long-term skin health.
Yeah.
And it makes sense considering how much Gen Z values authenticity.
Oh, for sure.
They're not just slapping on products. They're looking for efficacy.
Right.
For products that actually deliver. It's like they're taking a proactive approach to aging gracefully.
Which, again, makes you realize how differently they view things compared to previous generations. They're not just thinking about today's look, but what their skin will look like 10, 20 years down the line.
Totally.
But what about the generation coming up behind them?
Yeah.
This whole conversation makes me think about Gen Alpha. The true digital natives. They were practically born with a smartphone in hand.
Oh, talk about a force to be reckoned with. This generation is projected to hit a mind-boggling 2.2 billion people by the end of 2024.
Wow.
And even though they're young, they're already making their mark on the beauty world.
Okay, now I officially feel ancient. So spill the tea. What are these mini beauty influencers into? The article actually drops a stat here. It says like 66% of 12 to 14-year-olds say social media helps them discover new beauty products.
It's huge.
That's a huge chunk of their inspiration just like coming straight from their feet.
Totally, yeah. It's like a whole new world of influence, and it like makes you wonder how that early exposure shapes their perceptions of beauty,
Totally. Are we talking about a generation of skincare addicts before they even hit high school? Like, it makes you wonder about the downsides, too.
It's a valid concern, definitely. Especially when you think about like unrealistic beauty standards or misinformation
Totally.
online. But the interesting thing is the article highlights that Gen Alpha is actually pretty balanced in their approach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they seem to understand that beauty is multifaceted.
Tell me more about that. That's surprising.
Yeah, so they're into skincare for sure. They see it as like a form of protection, especially with all the talk about sun damage and pollution these days.
Right.
But then they're also not afraid to have fun with makeup. They see it as a tool for self-expression and creativity. It's like they're taking the best of both worlds.
Which, honestly, that's like a kind of wisdom you don't always see, like, even in adults.
Right.
It's fascinating how both Gen Z and Gen Alpha are using social media to shape their own narratives around beauty. And speaking of social media, the article talks about how platforms like TikTok have completely changed the game.
Huh.
I even remember reading something about VEve's CEO, Emma Dawson,
Oh, yeah, she's great.
talking about this.
Yeah, she makes a really, really good point about how TikTok, in particular, has become this incredible space for real-time feedback between brands and consumers. It's not just about one-way advertising anymore. It's about dialogue
Right.
and community.
And isn't that what Gen Z thrives on? Authenticity and connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dawson talks about how Gen Z values transparency,
Yeah,
and they're not afraid to, like, hold brands accountable.
totally.
They can, like, sniff out BS a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
And they're quick to call out brands that aren't being genuine.
Which is probably why those online beauty communities are so
Oh
powerful.
my gosh.
Yes.
I've totally fallen down those rabbit holes before, like reading comment threads
The best.
about the latest products.
Yeah.
It's like crowdsourced beauty advice.
Yes.
And sometimes it's the best kind. The best. It's so true.
So, like, brands are finally realizing that listening to their audience, especially Gen Z, is crucial.
Yeah.
They're the ones shaping the trends now.
Totally.
So with all that said, where do you see this going? Like, what's next for the beauty industry? What trends should we be watching for in 2024 and beyond?
It feels like we're on the cusp of something big.
Yeah. What does the article highlight as the major shifts?
Well, omni-channel retail is going to be huge. It's all about like bridging the gap between online shopping and those in-person experiences that people still crave.
Totally. Yeah. We
Right.
still want to, like, swatch that lipstick before we commit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then there's the growing focus on product efficacy.
Okay.
With so many options available, consumers are getting like savvier,
Right.
more
Totally.
discerning.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just look pretty on the shelf anymore.
Totally.
They want proof that it works.
Right.
Data and research are becoming increasingly important.
No more smoke and mirrors.
No,
Yeah.
it's all about transparency,
It's about results.
results,
Yeah.
and finally understanding and catering to Gen Alpha.
Of course. Yeah.
They are the future of the beauty industry, and they're already influencing trends in ways we're just starting to understand.
True.
Brands that figure out how to connect with them authentically will have a serious leg up.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. It really feels like the beauty industry is in the midst of a revolution. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of loving it.
Me too. It's very exciting.
The article emphasizes how data and customer insights are only going to become more important. Imagine a world of, like, hyper-personalized beauty recommendations,
Ooh.
products tailored to your unique needs and concerns.
I love that.
It's like the future of beauty is customized, inclusive, and constantly evolving. Talk about a glow up for the entire industry.
Yeah.
This has given us so much to think about. I mean, could we see things like DNA-based skincare routines
Right.
or makeup that adapts to our moods?
Right.
The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the ever-evolving world of beauty. We'll be back next time unpacking another fascinating topic and helping you stay ahead of the curve. Until then, stay curious, everyone.